I am Lo-Fi Thrasher Lenny Blade, and this is the Retrohunter Thailand show. And today I'd like to talk a little bit about my tabletop role-playing games pickup for the past few months or so. And yeah, I've got my pickups here in two different piles, and they are related to two different friends of mine. So we have Kirk's pile, that you may remember him from the Spelljammer episode, and we also have Tatum's pile. Yeah, we'll start with Kirk and what he gave me. If you remember my Spelljammer episode, you also know that Kirk sometimes sits at home in front of his computer. He's a retired military man. I don't want to say any more than that because I don't want to breach any sort of security or whatever. So, and sometimes he gets drunk and he forgets what he has ordered already. So he actually bought two of these. I think he kickstarted or somehow he got 2 copies of the Dungeons of Drakkenheim book. And Dungeons of Drakkenheim is a setting. This is the core setting book. I think there are more in this series. I'm not sure, but anyway, so it is basically a town that's been devastated by a cataclysm, a meteor shower, I think, or falling stars or something like that, and it destroyed the town to start with, and then also people don't really stay dead, something like that, and they come back, so it's become kind of a necropolis. And so the party can explore the dungeons of Drakkenheim, as it were. It also covers the area around, and there's a lot of political intrigue and factions and things like that. It seems fairly interesting. I don't think I will run it as it is, but there are so many places, like locations with maps and NPCs and things like that. There are also rules for contamination and mutations and madness and things like that you can incorporate in your game. On the negative side, I have to say that, I don't know if you can see, but the maps are really dark. They're barely usable, actually. At least the maps that are like in the back and the front here. So we'll see about that. Apparently this was made by 2 guys who have a YouTube channel called the Dungeon Dudes, but don't really know much about that. But I did watch a video later on, so I will talk to about them a little bit later. But yeah, so Dungeons of Drakkenheim. Thank you, Kirk. So, and that was published by Ghostfire Productions, and they also published the next Kickstarter that he double booked, and that is the Grim Hollow, which is sort of a grim dark setting for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. I haven't read it yet. As you can see, my player's guide is still sealed, so I can't really comment that much on that. I did open the campaign guide just to take a look, and it seems to have the same problem as Dungeons of Drakkenheim, with the dark maps in the front and the back cover here. So, but I don't know. I mean, so I got the campaign guide, the player's guide, and also a cloth map, which also looks very dark, and the a GM screen. So obviously it makes sense that it's dark because it's a dark setting, you know, Grim Hollow. Anyways, yeah, I haven't opened this yet, so let's open it together. This is the first time I see this as well. Cloth map. Okay, I thought it would be bigger actually, but okay, so there it is. Pretty decent size anyways. I mean, and cloth maps, you know, who doesn't love cloth maps, especially if you used to play those old computer role-playing games and things like that. So anyways, that's cool. I haven't opened the Dungeon Master Screen 2. Should we open, or either, I should say. So let's open that together as well. Okay, so here we are. Let's take a look. That's what it looks like. So it has 4 panels. I'm not sure how much this will show in the video, and here is the inside. So, you know, a typical DM screen. I guess it will be setting specific. Yeah, so these are setting specific things here. Yeah, legendary templates, curses, environment descriptions, conditions. Oh, they put the conditions in there from 5th edition. Core rules, okay, and yeah, looks pretty neat. Don't know if I will ever play it or not. I have to read it first. Okay, let's go to the next pile before this video gets too long. So this is Tatum's pile. So I went to see him a few months ago, and I took a look at this one, the Call of Cthulhu starter set, but I wasn't looking at buying anything because I have so much I haven't played yet even. So, but he said, you know, you can have it, but you know, in exchange for running a game for me. And I'm like, okay, yeah, okay, I'll run this for you. So he gave it to me, and I've ran it already, and I played through the solo adventure as well. So this has actually gotten a lot of use already, and I will use it again later. And actually, back to the dungeon dudes who did the Dungeons of Drakenheim book. I found a video where they played through one of the adventures in the starter set, so I watched that a little bit. So anyways, yeah, Call of Cthulhu was the first English role-playing game I played back in Sweden, back in the old country, and we played it a lot too. And so I'm looking forward to maybe starting a whole campaign of Call of Cthulhu, or playing in a campaign if someone else wants to run it. So, but the starter set has already gotten a lot of use, and we will play it again before we maybe go into a full campaign. We'll see. So he gave me that for free, and so I wanted to support him, right? So I asked about the RuneQuest starter set, and he said, "Oh, you know, it's 1150, but you know, you can have it for 1,000." And he always does that. He never let us give him any profit. Like, he never, you know, takes out any profits on the sales to his friends. You know, the ones in the group, in the fellowship, in the Karat fellowship. But so I was like, okay, so I didn't want to give him cash, because then I knew he would just give back money. You know, so I said, okay, give me your account number. He gave me his account number, and I paid 1,200 or 1,300, I think, so a little bit more instead of a little bit less, just to support him, you know. So he said, okay, well, in that case, take this one as well. So I got the core rulebook for the same price. So I think I paid 1,200 or 1,300 for both of these, which is like ridiculously cheap. So, and RuneQuest was the first English fantasy tabletop role-playing game that I played, me and my group. We didn't play Dungeons and Dragons until after RuneQuest, I believe. And RuneQuest is actually more similar to the Swedish role-playing games that we played back in the day. So, yeah. So I would love to either run or play RuneQuest again. I haven't played RuneQuest in like 30 years, so it would be interesting. He also bought 2 starter sets that he didn't want to run or play, so he sold them to me for 50%. So for half the price, you know. And the first one was the One Ring. And at first, you know, I knew about the One Ring, but I already have a Middle-earth system that works for me and that I like, which is Adventures in Middle-earth from Cubicle 7. So I didn't really feel... I wasn't going to pick this up, actually, because, you know, I don't need it. I have a Middle-earth system that works. But at half the price, and this was unopened, I have since opened, but it was still sealed and everything for half the price, and I said, I can't say no. So I did... So I did buy it from him, and I opened it up, and looks pretty damn cool, especially if you like hobbits, if you know what I mean. There's a lot of hobbit adventures in here. So I actually might run that someday. Another game I picked up at 50% is Twilight 2000, and this I played back in the day in the 80s and early 90s with my good friend Nelson. And we had a lot of fun, and I would actually like to play this with my friend Nelson again. Vad sägs, Jonas? Ska vi ta en Twilight 2000 kampanj? So one thing that I found as I looked through the starter set that I found was interesting is that there are solo rules. And the way Twilight 2000 works is that you can play in either Poland or Sweden, and it's like a war, like a Third World War role-playing game, so it's quite interesting. And there's also a hex crawl element, so that solo mode seems really intriguing to me, so I'm definitely going to try that out. And I'm hoping that my friend Nelson will play this with me online as well, and anyone else that wants to join is also welcome. Just hit me up and maybe we can start something later on. Anyways, that's it for this episode, so see you next time.